Pumpkin! Pumpkin!
Okay, so I was supposed to have work tomorrow, but my flight was delayed for 6 hours. So I literally landed around the same time I was planning on like waking up. Well, kind of. I was planning on waking up around 5:45 like I usually do. I landed at 5. I was supposed to land at like 11, which is late, but I was like, I could sleep on the plane and I can just go to work or like sleep back at the house back at my dorm and then go. But the thing is that I literally got back to my dorm around the same, well, I got back like 5:30. I was supposed to wake up at 5:45, so I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna wake up, you know. I texted my boss as it was slowly getting worse and worse, because originally I was supposed to land like an hour late, which I was like, okay, whatever, like I'll go to work, it's fine. And then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Like I was still gonna go to work if I had to land at 2 a.m. Like I was gonna sleep, I don't know, 3 hours on the plane, get off, come back, shower and everything, and sleep for like 2 hours and then go to work. Maybe 3 hours, I don't really know how time works. But no, alas, everything was going wrong. Like every single thing that you could think could go wrong on like before taking off went wrong, because there was a storm, like a snowstorm yesterday, so those flights were canceled and delayed, which impacted these flights, because the flight that I was like, the plane was supposed to go from Chicago to DC back to Chicago, and then we went on it to go to Phoenix, but that flight was really delayed as well, so they switched our plane to a plane that already took off coming from, I think, Puerto Rico, and that was fine. That made our flight like 1 hour delayed, which again I was like, okay, whatever, like I'll still go to work, it's fine, whatever. Once I get to the airport, like I was looking at the flight, and the time we're supposed to board is the time that Puerto Rico flight was supposed to land. So I was like, okay, like Hayden, just stay in the airport with me, like we can just like hang out for a little bit at the airport. So we hung out for a bit. When the flight got delayed an hour, we went to like Target and stuff, so we were still out of the airport. Once we got to the airport, we just hung out like in the airport for like an hour, and then I was like, okay, like I'll go. I go, it gets delayed like 30 minutes, and I'm like, I could have hung out with Hayden a little longer, are you kidding me? And then it gets delayed another 30 minutes, and at this point it's like, how long, 2 hours? No, like 2.5 hours, and then it gets delayed another 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, Hayden and I should have just hung out with you longer. Like, what are we doing? And then, okay, all of a sudden they're like, the gate isn't even Phoenix flight yet. Like, it's for New York, like Albany, New York. And so they're literally saying, as soon as I got there, like they haven't even boarded the plane yet. Like they literally were like, okay, we're gonna board you guys like very quickly. Like we are gonna go super quick, like just get in line and we're gonna board you guys, like, and we're just gonna like say groups out very quickly. And I was like, okay, like as long as whatever. And so that's why I was like, okay, like we're getting 30 minutes late and then another 30 minutes. I'm like, wow, okay, whatever. So my plane, they literally were like, look, like the gate agents were looking out the window and they were like, I think your plane is coming, like I think that's your plane, I think they're just waiting on these trucks to move. And then they go, just kidding, that was not your plane. And we're like, what, bro, what, like, don't you know these things? I don't know. So we eventually, they're like, okay, like here actually is your plane, like it's turning in, so that is your plane. And we're like, yay, our plane. So it moves in and we're like, okay, so like we're gonna start boarding. And then we wait like 30 minutes like another 30 minutes after we were already supposed to take off. So it was delayed again. At this point it's been like 3 hours, and they go on the intercom, it's like, yeah, we're waiting on one flight attendant and they haven't come yet. And then eventually they're like, yeah, we have no clue where that flight attendant is, so we are getting a new one. So they get a new one, and we're like, okay. So we get on the plane, and I'm thinking, okay, 3.5 hours delayed. Should I call out? At this point it's like I would land at like 2 a.m. and I was like, you know what, no, I'll still go. Okay, I'll still go to work. Once they tell us that we are delayed while we're sitting on the flight, they were like, yeah, so the catering truck couldn't get to the plane because they were de-icing the plane, so the catering truck moved somewhere else to another plane that didn't get catering, and now we don't have catering. And the pilot was really funny. The pilot, not funny, but he kept it real. The pilot was like, yeah, I don't know when you guys are gonna take off, but it's definitely gonna be more than 40 minutes. So if you want to get off the plane and like get a water or something, like the doors are open, you guys can go out, because it's gonna be a bit, and I wish I could give you a time, but I don't know a time. And he's like, I literally just heard on the radio that like this is happening with like so many flights right now, so it's like this everywhere. And we're like, great. So at this point I'm freaking out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, should I go to work, should I not go to work? Because now we're like going into 4.5 hours like delayed. So I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. And I'm texting Hayden, and Hayden literally, like, he talked to his dad, and they thought that my flight was gonna get canceled, because there's also some guy behind me that was like, oh my gosh, this flight, if this flight gets canceled, like, this is crazy, like, da da da. And so they thought my flight was gonna get canceled. So Hayden starts driving just in case over, because it's like an hour away from his house, and he didn't want me to like get my flight canceled and then have to wait an hour for him to pick me up. So he was coming over. His dad was seeing if he could rebook me, but the thing is that there was no seats on any of the flights tomorrow, like any, because of the storm yesterday. So they had flight, or like, yeah, whatever. So there was not any seats to rebook. But Hayden was still driving over just in case it gets canceled, and he made it all the way, and I feel really bad because he waited a little bit and then they were being weird. I don't know. So we at one point the issue was the catering, and then they were like, okay, the pilot comes out and is like, okay, we still don't have catering, and 2 of the flight attendants are about to time out. So that's fun. The catering didn't come until after the flight attendants, like the new flight attendants came. But the 2 new flight attendants, one of the flight attendants on the intercom was like, okay, I have good news and bad news. And this is like when we were like delayed again. Like we were probably 5 hours delayed at this point. And she goes, I got good news and I got bad news. Good news is we found a flight attendant. Bad news is there's only one of them. And I was like, that's a crazy thing to say. So we get on the flight, or I'm like freaking out because I'm like, okay. So I literally get off the plane because they're like, the pilot was like, we're not holding you guys hostage, like the doors are still open, if you want to get off you can get off. So I get my stuff and I get off, because you have to take your stuff when you get off. And I leave the plane, and I'm like seeing if I can rebook it, because his dad's trying to over the phone. I'm like, maybe I can just go up to an agent, see if I can rebook it. This is when I find out that there is no seats on any of the flights, and I was like, okay, well, that's fun. Because Hayden was like, yo, like, if you want, I can just skip my classes tomorrow, because at this point I already called out of work, because like I was 5 hours delayed. I'm like, yeah, I'm landing at what, 4 a.m? No, like 3 a.m, like, or like 3:40, I don't know, like 3:40. I wasn't gonna get back till 4 a.m. I had to be up like at 5:45. That sounds awful, and I'm really stressed out right now. So I was like, yeah. Anyways, I leave, and there's like 30 of us leaving, And the gate agents did not get the memo that the pilot was saying that we could go, because the gate agents were like, the 2 flight attendants are here, like you can look at them 1 and 2. And so they're like, go back on the plane. And I'm like, okay, but I want to talk to the agent. So I talked to the agent, and they're like, yeah, we're on a plane. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go back onto the plane. I call Hayden. At this point, I feel really bad that he drove all the way out, but he was like, and like, I would do it for you, and like, you know, like, even like, this is just in case like your flight gets canceled. And I'm like, And so they were like getting us back on, but they didn't close the doors or anything, because the catering still wasn't there. And I was like, bruh. Yeah, but the captain, is that the pilot? The pilot was saying like, is it? Yeah, the pilot was saying like me and the co-pilot, like, we are not gonna time out, like, we just started our days. So he was like, we're chilling. The 2 flight attendants that are coming, they're, I think, coming off the first flight of the day, so they're chilling too, like, we should be fine for timeouts. And then they're like 30 minutes later, I say 30 minutes, I have no clue, it could have been longer. They were like, okay, we got the catering, now we have another issue. They did not pull the trash from the first flight, like the flight that came in. So they were like, our trash is backed up. So 15 minutes goes by of them waiting to get the trash, and I'm literally like, bro, like, at this point I told Hayden to go home because I felt bad, and it's like 1 a.m. and I was supposed to take off at 7 p.m. So I was like, okay. And I was like, hey, Hayden, just go home, I'm so sorry, like, thanks for coming out, like, it means so much to me. Which it did, like, knowing that, but like, knowing that he was like really close to me and I couldn't see him made me really sad. Anyways, so we were like waiting for 15 minutes, and they went over the intercom again, and it was like, okay, we just want to get you guys in the air, so we are just not gonna get our trash taken out, and we're just gonna close one of the bathrooms, and that bathroom is gonna be a trash room, like, we're just gonna put the trash in there. And so we're like, okay, sounds great, because all of us are tired. I'm gonna sleep, I'm not using the bathroom at all, so I don't really care that one of the bathrooms is down. So they're like, we still have another bathroom in the back, and then we have the bathrooms in the front, like, we're chilling. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm so hyped to leave. And they close the doors, they play the safety video, and we have not moved. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And I look at my phone, and we're still getting delayed. I'm like, they closed the doors, how are we delayed again? And they go on the intercom again, and it's like, okay, so bad news. The pool crew, like the people who like taxi, I think, I don't quite know, but they're like, the pool crew timed out. I'm like, oh my gosh. And the pilot was so funny. He was like, a new team should be here shortly, with an asterisk, because I don't know actually. And so they actually did come pretty shortly. That was the shortest wait. We started taxiing. There was a long line to taxi, and the Chicago airport has a really long taxi to begin with, but there was a line, so we had to wait in the line, and we took off, and then I came here. I landed, I Ubered, and now I am back in my room. So I am not going to work because it is now 6:23. I got back at like 5:30. I showered and got ready for bed, and now I'm talking to you guys because that was crazy. If I was going to work tomorrow, I would have just like ran to bed. I don't even think I would have showered, which is bad because I stink. Like, oh my gosh, that airport and airplane travel, like, I am nasty. So that was really fun, and I would not recommend that to anybody, but oh my gosh, don't fly after a snowstorm. I was like very tempted to change my flight till tomorrow, but then there was another snowstorm. I don't know if it's a snowstorm, but it was gonna snow, so I was like, I don't want to risk it again. And also I have classes on Tuesday that I like should go to because it's my last few classes. But yeah, so I am missing work, which is what it is because I had no control over this. I just feel bad because I was like horrendously sick not last week, but 2 weeks ago. So I called out of that week, And then I was gone last week for Thanksgiving, and then I'm gone today because my flight was really bad, but it's okay. I'll go on Wednesday and I'll see my boss. I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy stuff happened to me. But yeah, but now I miss Hayden. I had a lot of fun this trip. It was really, really fun. Like, it was so much fun. You guys don't even understand. It was just us hanging out. It was cool because I got to see a few of his family's like Thanksgiving traditions. I got to help decorate the Christmas tree. It was chill. And we made gingerbread houses, so vibe. But they have a lot of traditions. My family does not have many traditions, but it's a vibe. So yeah. Anyways, I see him in like 12 days, so it's not the end of the world, but it is still sad. So I'm gonna go. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this and you want to see more, you know what you see to you. Bye. I don't even know. Maybe is it 12 days or 13? I'm so confused. Why does it say we're encountering each other on the 12th? We're encountering on the 13th. Let's change the day. 12 days. We're gonna see each other in 12.